to discuss the enhancement of instructional design through the TPACK and SAMR frameworks. Today's objective is to demonstrate how both of these frameworks can help guide our instructional approach for our ever-evolving educational system. Let's take a look at the TPACK framework, which stands for Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge. This model emphasizes the integration of three key knowledge areas: content knowledge, known as the CK, which is our mastery of the subject matter we're teaching; pedagogical knowledge, PK, which is our understanding of how to teach that content effectively; technological knowledge, which is TK. This is our familiarity with the digital tools and resources that can support learning. Effective teaching with technology doesn't just happen by adding devices to a classroom. It happens at the intersection of these three areas. That's where real, meaningful integration takes place. TPACK encourages us as educators to reflect on our strengths and areas for growth in each of these domains. It is not just about knowing how to use technology, it's about understanding why and how we use it to enhance teaching and learning. Ultimately, TPACK helps ensure our technology use in both purposeful and pedagogical sound. Now, specifically, the SAMR model is a way to think about how we use technology in our teaching. It has 4 levels. Substitution. This is when tech just replaces something we already do, like using a Word document instead of writing a paper. Augmentation. Still a replacement, but with a little boost, like using spell check or voice typing. Modification. Now we are redesigning the task, like students working together in a shared document, giving each other feedback. Or redefinition. This is where technology lets us do something totally new, like having students create a podcast or collaborate with a class in another country. So why bother with this? It gives us a simple roadmap for moving from just using technology to actually transform learning. It helps us think beyond just making old tasks digital, and it's great for planning lessons that really take advantage of what technology can offer. In short, the SAMR model helps us see the difference between using technology just to keep up versus wanting to really change the game. When you put TPACK and SAMR model together, you really get the best of both worlds. TPACK helps you figure out what to teach, what technology to use when you're teaching, and why it makes sense for your subject and teaching style. The SAMR model helps you see how much the technology is really changing the way students learn. Used together, these give you a super practical way to pick tools that actually serve a purpose, build lessons that make the most of these tools, and move past just using technology, but using these tools in a way that truly change how students learn. Here's a simple way to think about it. TPACK is your base. It helps everything work smoothly together. But the SAMR is your path framework. It pushes you to keep trying new things and growing. When you use both, we're not just adding technology into our classrooms or lessons, we're using it thoughtfully to make learning better. All right, let's be real. TPACK is a great framework, but it's not without its challenges. First off, It can honestly be pretty confusing. You're trying to balance content knowledge, teaching strategies, and technology all at the same time. That's a lot to juggle, especially if you're not super confident with technology. It can start to feel overwhelming really quick. Second, even though TPACK gives you a solid structure, it's not always easy to apply in real classrooms. It's more of a big picture idea than a clear roadmap, so sometimes we're left wondering, okay, but what now am I supposed to actually do? Third, it's tough to measure. There's no simple checklist to see if someone is doing TPACK right. That makes it hard to know if you're improving or how successful your approach really is. And finally, TPACK kind of assumes we're all great at everything, teaching, technology, and content. But the truth is, most of us are stronger in some areas than others, and that's totally normal and okay. The challenge is figuring out how to build up the other areas that you're not so confident in without feeling like we have to be experts in all three all at one time. So while this framework has lots of great things to offer, it's important to recognize these real-world bumps in the road and think about how we can support each other as we work through them. Now we're going to talk about the challenging with the SAMR. First, it's easy to get caught up in the levels. It can feel like we have to reach the top, the redefinition, or we're not doing it right. But honestly, sometimes just using technology to make a task easier is totally fine. Not everything has to be transformed. Second, the focus can shift too much to technology. We might start using technology tools just to say we moved up in that ladder, even if it doesn't actually help students learn better. And third, this framework doesn't really ask if the lesson itself is any good. Just because we added some technology doesn't mean it's a better learning experience. And finally, it doesn't consider what we're actually teaching. What works great in a math class doesn't always transfer over to an English, history, or an art class. It's not always going to be a perfect fit for every classroom. So yes, the SAMR model is helpful, but it is important to use it as a guide, not a rule book. Okay, so how do we actually put TPACK and the SAMR into practice? Here is a simple 7-step approach, or at least a guideline for what schools or your team could use. First thing is you're going to introduce the ideas. Start by briefly sharing what the TPACK and the SAM models are, maybe during a staff meeting or short training. Use examples so it's easier to understand and connect with. Offer trainings. Give teachers some hands-on workshops, show how the lesson plans model using these models, and have experienced teachers share what's worked for them. It's very important to have a guide or someone to turn to if questions need to be asked. Start small. Don't try to change everything overnight. Pick a few teachers or classes to try it out first. Encourage staff to update just one lesson using the model to begin with. Work together. Build a support team to help with the technology integration. Make space for teachers to talk, share ideas, and reflect on what is working and what is not. Obviously, we want to provide the tools. Give teachers what they need. Simple guides, checklists, a shared folder will be helpful, along with templates and lessons based on these two models. Check in and celebrate. Ask for feedback from both teachers and students. Make sure to celebrate the wins, even the small ones, and keep everybody motivated. And last but not least, keep it going. Revisit the model regularly during PD days or planning, and remind everyone that this isn't a one-and-done thing. It is an ongoing learning process. So the goal here isn't perfection, it's to make progress. Small, steady steps can make a whole big difference. To wrap things up, TPACK and SAMR are both really helpful frameworks that push us to think more intentionally about how we use technology in our teaching and in our classroom. They're not perfect, and that's okay. The key is using them with flexibility. Focus on what our students actually need, setting real goals, and planning with purpose. When we're thoughtful about how we bring technology into the classroom, we're not just making lessons more engaging, we're helping students get ready for the digital world they are growing up in. We welcome any questions, feedback, and collaboration as to how to best implement these practices into your instructional classrooms. Questions?